Hey, what's up, guys? Koolaid here. Welcome to another episode of Killing Time with Koolaid. Hope you guys all had a good double experience point weekend. I honestly didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. I snuck a few hours in, but as usual, what always happens on double experience weekends or big weekends, it's like a whole bunch of gaming stuff comes out at once. I got invited to the Elder Scrolls beta this weekend for the first time I've been invited to that beta, so I wanted to check that out a little bit. Also, the one hero I've been waiting for in Marvel Heroes, Gambit, happened to come out this weekend as well. So I did get to sneak a few hours in. All this Harasser play that you're watching is from yesterday. This is probably the highlight of my double experience point weekend. This video, this is about an hour, hour and a half of harassing. And when we actually started doing Harasser runs yesterday, my kill death ratio was probably at like 15 and 10. It wasn't that good. I was having a pretty boring hour of gameplay before we started doing Harasser runs, and I posted up on my Twitter yesterday my score post Harasser run, and I think the total starting off 15 and 10, I ended up 128 and 16 or something like that. So I basically went 115 and 5 or something once we started doing Harasser runs, and that's kind of gonna really fit in with what I want to talk about today, and that is Balance Pass Post 1. You can find these on the official Planetside 2 forums. I'll leave a direct link to this exact post that I'm talking about. There's actually 2 Balance Pass posts up. I'll make a video on each one, but since there is a lot to go over, I'm just going to do them one at a time. And Balance Pass Post 1 is about vehicle weapons and the Harasser. And I'm going to read you kind of word for word what this post actually says, and then kind of go over some of my thoughts as I go along. So anyways, starting at the top, it says secondary weapon damage adjustments. Anti-vehicle weapon secondaries will remain the same against vehicles, but we'll see a slight drop in damage against infantry. This corrects the cases where certain anti-vehicle weapons are outperforming anti-infantry weapons at the latter's intended role. So basically, they're going to tone down anti-vehicle weapons against infantry a slight notch. I don't know what exactly that means. For instance, at the end of this video, you're going to see me using a halberd on the Harasser, and you're going to see me one-shotting infantry. So I don't know if you're not going to be able to do that anymore. I'm not a big vehicle guy, but I don't really see anything wrong with that. You actually have to be pretty accurate, pretty precise to get a direct hit with the halberd on an infantry, especially if they're moving, especially if they're not just standing there in the open, which if they are, they deserve to die anyway. And so coming from somebody that rarely uses harassers, rarely uses vehicles, period, I'm not really sure that this change needs to take place. Not that big of a deal to me, but it could make your choices on certain secondary weapons a little bit harder. Anti-personnel weapons will receive a damage increase at very close range against infantry and light armor. In parentheses, it says Harasser. This gives coordinated tank drivers and gunners the tool to deal with approaching harassers and infantry with C4. The key word here is coordinated. We're not giving tanks a free pass, just better tools and options. I actually like this. Oftentimes as a gunner, you will see an infantry running at you with C4, and you don't have time to tell the driver maybe to start moving, and your gun just simply won't do enough damage sometimes to kill them before they get in range or get where your gun can't actually hit them anymore. So this will help against that. And again, I'm not a big vehicle guy, but I don't want vehicles to be bad either. I want them to be worthy of actually using. So I kind of like this change. I think it'll especially, I do like the change against harassers too. It's going to allow you to do more damage against them. So, good change here, I think. More noticeable damage fall off is being added to vehicle secondary weapons, similar to infantry, but with the range extended much further out. So, it sounds like you're just not going to be able to snipe as much with secondary weapons, I guess. Again, not a huge deal to me. More information on the damage fall off. Vehicle damage fall off will not be extreme. It will just be enough to better define the roles for the different vehicle types. We will not be changing any weapons roles, just getting them closer to where they should be. For example, the G30 Vulcan will perform better at close to medium anti-vehicle combat when compared to the E54 Halberd. But the Halberd will be able to reach out and perform at better, longer ranges. Players can equip either to match where they're fighting or how they like to fight. So basically, you're going to get two different weapons there. The halberd's going to be your more long-range anti-vehicle, where if you want to get up close and personal, you're going to want to equip the Vulcan. The bigger change here is that the range of Harasser weapons is being reduced in comparison to the other ground vehicle secondary weapons. This means that the Harasser will have to put itself at more risk in order to output its full damage, which better fits its hit and run playstyle. On the other side, the larger optimal range of the main battle tank and Sunder secondary gunners will overlap with the Harasser's sweet spot, allowing these gunners to better protect their vehicles. So essentially, the Harasser is going to be made for more close quarters hit and run style, which it's best used for anyway. You're just not going to be able to get as good of long range damage as you currently are. And I think a lot of this balance pass right here is mainly about the Harasser and how a lot of people feel it's just ridiculously overpowered right now. And I wouldn't call myself a good gunner. And you can just see the carnage that we're doing. 100 and something and 5 in an hour of gameplay just tells you that something's a little bit wrong with these Harassers. Now, they don't need drastic changes, and I don't think there necessarily are huge nerfs incoming, but they're definitely nerfs, they're definitely changes. And as I read on, you're going to see a few more things. So we have the proximity radar change. Proximity radar is being moved to the defensive slot. Proximity radar is intended to be a defensive warning against approaching infantry with C4, but it's become obvious that the other options are vastly preferred in the utility slot. We feel that moving it to the defensive slot makes more sense for the cert line, and this move gives players clear defensive options to choose from. I actually had this idea a while back to do this because it made more sense to me as well. I think this is a good change. I haven't actually gone in and looked around to see if it's something that I'll start using from now on over a other defensive option. I haven't got that far with this yet, but I do like this change as well. General vehicle balance pass, or general vehicle weapons balance pass. In addition to everything listed above, we're taking a pass at all vehicle weapons in order to even out the performance in the various trade-offs between the different faction weapons. So basically, it sounds like they're doing kind of a complete overhaul or look at all these weapons, and this is a good idea. I think a lot of different people will say, oh, your faction weapon is way better than mine, and I haven't spent a lot of time with the VS or TR faction specific vehicle weapons, so I'm not going to come out and say that, but I wouldn't doubt if there are some disparities in how good certain ones are compared to other ones. So I'm glad they're taking a closer look at this. Now, some more Harasser specific changes. Harassers currently have too much freedom in infantry areas because of their high speed. Acceleration allows them to recover and repair quickly. We're going to increase C4 and tank mine damage against this vehicle so that infantry can push Harasser drivers who get too punish Harasser drivers that get too careless. Harasser composite armor's max resistance is being reduced, not by much, just enough so that it will not out-tank a tank. And the C4 resistance buff on Harasser's composite armor is also being removed. And to me, this makes a lot of sense. They just, I couldn't believe, honestly, how much damage they could absorb when they first came out. And the fact that they could take C4 as much as they did, surprised me as well. I honestly think one C4 should be able to take out a Harasser or close to it, at least light it on fire. I'm not sure exactly what it takes right now. I don't do enough Harasser driving, but I'm glad they're doing this. As a Harasser driver, if you get stuck in an infantry heavy zone and you're just sitting there, a sitting duck, you should die. I mean, that's what it should be like. Harassers should be a completely mobile vehicle, and depending on how good your driver is, if he doesn't get stuck or gets stuck, it should be a lot of your survivability. So I like these changes as well. So that pretty much covers Balance Pass Post 1. As you can see, it's mostly about the Harasser with some slight vehicle weapon changes. For the most part, I do like these changes. I don't drive a Harasser very often, but man, when I do, you go on some crazy kill streaks, and you can see that it obviously needs toned down. I mean, I don't think there's too many too many of you out there that are gonna argue with me on that. I'm sure some of you are. Some of you argue with whatever I say. But for the most part, man, I think harassers are just really freaking good and need a little tweaking. So, anyways, that's all I have for today. I will be covering Balance Pass Post 2, which is Nanoweave armor. Hopefully later this week, I plan to do a couple more episodes this week. One covering that, and then one doing a whole episode dedicated to mail. Which I'm not going to do any mail today. Just want to knock out a whole bunch of the old questions, get to the fresh stuff, just knock them all out in one episode. Hopefully, I'll be doing that later this week as well. So, anyways, guys, that's all I got. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Oh, spawn kill heavy camping. I'm really good at this game.